How's it going, everyone? Happy 420. Um, Personally, I think there is nothing more fitting for a day like this one to play a little bit of Drug Dealer Simulator. Let's get back into this. Um, with Facecam today, because whatever, man. It is now in game. I played a little bit, by which I mean I just kind of stood still here for a while. Um, it is 4:36 in game, so I'm just gonna crack open the cold one. And I'm gonna enjoy myself a little beer until the sun comes up, and then I will stop being a pussy. Sounds good? Sounds good to me. Uh, this felt like streaming today. Mainly felt like, a day like today, if I'm gonna play anything and I'm gonna stream it all, it has to be like, no, let me put it differently. If I'm streaming a game like this on any other day, then I have to do it today as well. That's kind of like a rule. Everything drugs related is kind of meant to be today. Um, if you don't know why, it's because of an expression, which is 420 blaze it, which comes from American high schools where they went to do drugs, weed mainly, but they were gonna blaze it. But then obviously they had to have like some sort of secret code to make sure that the teachers wouldn't find out. So 420 basically means 4:20 p.m., which is when they went to the back of the school to take a couple of tokes. Now, I don't actually have drugs here because I don't do that stuff. But I do have a cigar, a couple of them, small cigars that essentially look like drugs. So I might just have some, just a little bit. A little bit later on today, though. Once I'm kind of more into it. For now, let's have a chat before we go out. Before anything, I will say it's 4:48. The police has not come by at all. I still don't have the option to just go to sleep, which is a lacking feature, but maybe that's there in the full game. Um, if I enjoyed this game enough, I might just get the full game. I don't even know how much it cost. I don't even know if I can play the next game because keep in mind this is a demo version. Like I don't know if this game is early access per se. I don't know if it's come out at all, but this is an early access version. Sorry, a demo version, which means that it's not representative of the final look of the game, as the game says at the top there. I see that my camera has gone black, so let me fix that real quick. Um, that is entirely unfortunate. I hadn't charged my camera, but hey, do you know what? These things happen. This is me not having thought things through, so I'm gonna leave it to charge overnight. The next time maybe we'll have facecam, even though my norm is not having facecam because I don't really like it that much. I'm kind of a fat slob. Um, not hugely impressed with what it looked like, and I don't think you guys are either. I don't think you guys are really into my looks. I think you're here for my charming personality and my jokes. Um, so one thing I want to tell you guys about, by the way, I used my laptop real quick, and I found out the penalty of not going out at night. Uh, you lose respect if you don't kind of like keep it up. So I've lost respect in both of these areas because I didn't really do much. So that's probably one of the first things that we're going to do when we get back into the game is basically just bump up my respect, especially in the East Old Town, just for the sake of it. So, speaking of jokes, let's talk about comedy. Now, I will say, and I should probably like link it in the description as well. If you guys are interested in like discussions between me and someone else, his name's Guy, really fun guy. He's been on the channel as well. Last time we played Among Us, which I don't know if you guys actually watched, but fair enough. Um, we talk about like comic book stuff all the time, and comic book movies, pop culture, stuff like that, all the time. And obviously with Lucky Dutch on the weekend, we'll talk about stuff like that briefly as well. Even though he's less clued in on that, but he's got other opinions about stuff. I feel like these gameplays are just more for me to kind of like, vent a little bit because I know that no one's listening, so I can get away with it in a way. So one of the things that I want to talk about is comedy. And now, the reason why I want to talk about comedy is because, as you guys might know, um, there's this thing these days going around called cancel culture. What is cancel culture? So basically, cancel culture is when someone doesn't like something that you said or gets offended by something that you said and says this person should never have a job again, or people say that someone shouldn't have a job ever again because of something they said, or someone that they are, or who they are, or what they look like. You know, they say, racism or whatever, but against white people doesn't really exist. But this is a scenario where sometimes, like, a straight white cisgender male might not necessarily have a platform at all times, depending on where they are. I'm not saying like, oh, white men are oppressed. I'm just saying, this can happen at times. The other way goes around too. Black people might not have a platform at all times. Women don't. Everyone has that, but like these days, I've noticed more of the former happening as like like a principal thing. So I just wanted to talk about what is comedy. This is completely unresearched. This is observation off the cuff. But I might just write a book about this at some point because I'm genuinely interested. So, what is comedy? So, comedy, um, in the ancient Greek times, you know, when uh, when the writers wrote plays, they wrote um, they wrote two types of plays typically. Like obviously, there's different genres and stuff like that, but for the most part, there were two main categories, which is a tragedy or a comedy. A tragedy is a sad event that happened that made people feel sad and made people think about the mortality of life. And a comedy is, I think, is best described as the opposite. It's basically about the joyous side of life. Not necessarily something funny at the time. It wasn't necessarily meant to be something funny, but something fun at least. Something that you'd enjoy watching, and something that you'd go away with feeling better about yourself, and not really thinking about like nihilism and stuff like that. Not necessarily. Obviously, those two terms have been muddled and have been interwoven and um have been complicated, which is not a bad thing, I think. Especially because they've overlapped for good reason. I'm sure a lot of you have heard um the formula or saying comedy is tragedy plus time. The two aren't very far apart. Not really. So, what is comedy now is the real question. I think what we all think is comedy is something that is funny and amusing in a way. Something that might make us feel good, but more importantly, makes us laugh about for various reasons, either because something is absurd or something is true and relatable in a way. I think when it comes to what is comedy, the better question might be what is funny. How do we know if something is funny? And the problem is that that's deeply personal, but there's basics to what is funny, right? So a a joke, let's say, or something funny, is that there's always a punchline. Uh, Much like in a sentence, you always have a subject and an object. And, well, maybe in this case, you don't necessarily have a subject. but you definitely have an object. When you say something funny, it will always be to the detriment of something or someone else. It doesn't necessarily matter to what capacity, but there is. Think of any joke at all, and it is anything that you can think of. You're making fun of someone or a concept of a situation. Even if a situation is funny, the people in the situation are often like, how would you say it? They're part of the joke. Like, it's the kind of thing where, like, if the situation happens to someone else, it might not be as funny. That kind of thing. But for the most part, like, when we talk about funny, the main thing we think about is jokes. And jokes are basically statements that are funny. But they're also intended in a way that is in jest. You know what I mean? So basically they're not meant to hurt anyone or anything. They're just made to elicit a reaction from you. For example, I think this is a lesser joke, I think, but why did the chicken cross the road? To get to the other side. Now, this is a joke that isn't necessarily funny. Especially if you're a foreigner like me, like not a native speaker. The first thing you think about is like, I don't know. But as you get older, the joke gets funnier because you learn what the expression going to the other side actually means. Which, for those among us who don't know, it means essentially to die. Right? To go to the other side of mortality in a way. So basically, if you know that and someone says, why did the chicken cross the road to get to the other side? You kind of go like, okay, I've heard that one. But now, if someone says, why did the chicken cross the road to commit suicide? I witnessed someone saying that once. And I laughed my ass off. And the reason why I thought it was so funny is because I didn't expect it. It came completely out of left field. Right? Because, yes, that's exactly what it means. But it was said so bluntly. That to me is something with comedy as well. Like, sometimes there's like shock value, or there's like a. They say with comedy there's always a twist, but sometimes if you can see something coming from a mile away, it can still be funny. I think in this case, I just think it was a clever kind of how do you say it? It was linguistically clever in a way. Or maybe it was even so stupid that it became clever, or so clever that it became stupid. Either way, it made me laugh. That's an example of a joke. Obviously, there's other jokes as well, such as there's the rabbi jokes. They're never really funny, but you're supposed to take some sort of lesson from them. There's racy jokes. There's racist jokes, which sometimes work, sometimes they don't. We'll get on that later, I suppose. There's innocent jokes. There's puns. I love puns. They really do a good job of just making me giggle. But what is really funny about them? I think what's funny about them is that in hearing them, there's some sort of realization in our head. Like like an instant reaction, like a knee-jerk brain chemical reaction thing that makes us go, that is interesting, but in a way that for some reason like shocks me in a bizarre way. I don't know how to describe it really. it's easy to say when it's funny, but like there's like it's the same thing as like asking a man who spent all his life in a dark cave to describe the color red. It's difficult. You can't quite do that. Um, and so in this scenario, um, I can't really describe what specifically is funny. I think it's deeply personal. Even if there's a couple of jokes that will commonly kind of entertain most people. Um, Comedy is like morals. I find is like there's a lot of them that a lot of people agree about. Jokes and moral values, I suppose. There's a lot of those that everyone agrees about, or a lot of people agree about. There's just a lot of them that not everyone agrees with, and there's a lot of people who don't necessarily agree with it as well. Like there's people with no sense of morality or no sense of humor, I guess. So how does one then get the title of being funny? You think like the first thing you think about is all those stand-up comedians or those comedy actors or comedy directors or um, you know, theatrical events or clowns or I don't know what. Let's start small. When do you call someone funny? When they tell you jokes that you find funny. For the most part, right? And but not jokes that they've heard from somewhere necessarily. If they can come up with something like on the spot, like we tend to want them to be intelligent, we want them to be um sharp-witted. Like we want them to be perceptive, observant in a way. Being funny is not necessarily easy. And the reason why it's not easy is because you have to be able to like think on your feet a lot. Um, you think about comedy, and there's like two main ways of performing comedy, in my opinion, is either it's scripted or it's improvised. And I tend to lean more towards improvised comedy because I think that it's such a highly specialized craft. But enough about that. I digress. Um, let's say people find me funny in my direct environment. That means that they think that I am witty. They think that I can come up with jokes that make them laugh, like on the spot. But there's a catch because obviously, um, these are usually people who know me fairly well, right? And I'm taking me as an example because I want to talk from like a personal point of view. So imagine that I'm talking about you, but I'm saying me. So it's like I'm like a voice in your head saying this. So when people think I'm funny, it's not just because I'm saying things that are funny. It's also because I know them fairly well usually. I don't think, I connect well with people pretty much immediately, depending on the person. If they've got jokes, I'll navigate toward them. Um, but I don't know. Like I don't. I won't tell someone I know very well a joke that they wouldn't like because I know that they won't like it, and to continue to be a funny person, I have to tell a joke that ticks both the two criteria really. One, a joke that I genuinely think is funny, or um, an alternative to that box is something that I think is so painfully unfunny that it will still elicit some sort of reaction. Um, but in the sense that it's like an annoyance more than anything. And the second box is just that actually is basically the second box is whether it will elicit a reaction from someone. So let's say I were in a conversation with someone who doesn't know I'm Jewish. Telling them a joke about Jewish people would be ill-advised because I don't think they're gonna get it. And if I don't think they're gonna get it, there's no point in telling it because that just makes a weird impression to them of me. And that's one of the things about comedy as well is it's a great kind of icebreaker in a way, but it's also a great way to gauge someone's personality in many different levels, on many different levels, right? So the jokes that I tell are representative of my personality. And so by telling jokes, I give them a certain impression about me. And one of like the main thing that the main impression that I want to give people as a human being is the impression that I'm a likable guy. Now, I'm not saying that this has to be the way it is. I'm just saying in general, human beings tend to want to be likable because when people like you, they'll um they'll open up to you, right? They'll become more friendly towards you. They'll do you favors if you need to, like that kind of thing. So you want people to like you. So you make the jokes that make them like you. And this is why like a lot of communication is like safe jokes. Not everyone likes safe jokes, but 99% of the people would do. And safe jokes are like harmless jokes where you're like, self-deprecation humor sometimes kind of works that way as well if you do it well because people find that relatable in some way. Um, the point is they have to connect with it somehow, and that's comedy on like an interpersonal level. Now, when it becomes slightly bigger, it is comedy for an audience, and this is where all the performers come in: the films, the theater, the stand-up acts, all of those. That's where those kind of come in, and basically they're a little bit different because obviously when you're speaking to your audience face to face, like one-on-one jokes, maybe like in a small group of people that you all know fairly well, that's one thing. Like you know who you're talking to, you get to pick the jokes that like handpick the jokes that probably fit this audience best. If you are talking to a larger audience, especially with people that you've never seen before, you're going to have to tell jokes that accurately describe your personality in a way or a character that you're playing. Um, and you think an audience would appreciate, but on an individual level, not everyone will enjoy it. And how could they? You know, in a room of 200 people, two people are not going to like you. And that's just straight up facts, I guess. Um, but when you have a small audience, I will say you can get away with a lot more. Because you're not very well known and no one really cares about you at that point. So if you make a lot of kind of unacceptable, well, unacceptable in quotation marks, obviously, but unacceptable jokes in an audience of 100 people and they don't like you, they boo you off the stage, you go to the next stage. And soon enough, you'll amass an audience of people who like those kind of jokes. And then you'll have you'll have audiences such as, let's say, Dave Chappelle, who says pretty risky jokes all the time. I think there's plenty of videos on like the jokes that he tells and like the reactions that he can get from people by telling those jokes. Um, and there's plenty of people who probably want to cancel him over it, even though nothing he says is really that bad when you really like dissect everything. But you'll have situations like that one time that a woman wanted to cancel Ricky Gervais because he made a dead baby joke and she just happened to be pregnant, and it's like, well, obviously if he was talking to her face to face, that joke will have come across completely different because he will probably still have made that joke, but in a slightly different context. The dead baby joke wasn't even that bad of a joke because he wasn't joking about killing a baby. He was joking about, well, basically just watch the Humanity show on Netflix. It's really good, and there's a joke in there at some point where he says that he would be a horrible parent, and then he basically like acts out like putting a baby in the cradle and just looking at it, and then he just goes like, "Ah, it's dead." That's all it is, and it's just a joke about how incompetent he would be as a parent. Like the joke is on him entirely, and there's nothing wrong with it, except if you're a pregnant woman who can't take a joke. Now, because like having said all that, this is kind of where offense kind of comes in. Is it fair to get offended at a joke that isn't targeted at you or a group that you belong to or whatever? I don't know. I'll be honest, it's difficult for me to say because I don't really have a lot of experiences with someone making a joke about me personally in a large group because I'm just not that important of a person. Um, I have very little experience as well of people making anti-Semitic jokes and me finding it so offensive that I just want to like avoid the person who made the joke for the rest of my life. Can't really think of anyone, to be honest with you. Not off the top of my head, but I'm sure there's someone, but like, I don't know if I would cancel anyone. Um, Depending on the joke. I know that there was this French comedian who like went overboard. Um, but that's like a thing. Um, to give you an example, obviously there was this situation, not recently, it's like a while ago now, with Count Dankula and the pug he turned into a Nazi. And the question was, is this anti-Semitism? And I think it was judged that he was. Truthfully said, I didn't think it was. I thought it was actually rather funny. Um, on it, like I watched the whole video, and the joke was that he was turning his pug into a monster. And I'll be honest, like jokes like that as well, like Nazi jokes, if they're executed as jokes, um, I like them. I think they can be really funny. I think it goes without saying that I really like the works of Mel Brooks, who does that sort of thing constantly, like all the time. I guess there is a valid point in saying that because he's Jewish, he gets to make those jokes, but I don't really want to limit that joke to our group in that way because I don't think it's fair. I think that anyone can tell a joke. Let me put it this way. I've always maintained the worst that a joke can be is just not funny. And I stand by that. I think if a racist joke is funny, it gets a pass for me. An anti Semitic joke, anyway. I don't think, a joke about any other ethnic minority, I can't really judge that. Because, obviously, not my culture. Having said that, there's a difference between making a statement, like a racist statement, and a racist joke. Now, you've heard the joke before. When someone says, "Would you call a Jew falling off a roof?" Or jumping off a roof, rather. It's called a shooting star. I didn't really like. Once I thought it was kind of edgy and stuff. Nowadays, I barely think it's funny, but it's not necessarily offensive because it's clear that it's a joke. But if someone said "fuck the Jews," I don't know if that would be so funny. I don't think it would be really a joke or considered as such. Depends on the context, obviously, but like it'd be very specific context to make that into a joke. That said, it's not impossible. But, you know, it takes a lot, and I think for the most part, like for other ethnic minorities, I think it should be the same thing, in a way. Like, if someone makes a joke about an ethnic minority, like black people, let's say, if someone makes a joke about black people, I think the joke should be regarded as such as long as it is clearly like set up as a joke. And then the worst thing that joke could be is not offensive or not racist or anything like that. It's just if it's not funny. That's all it is. Alright, let's go outside and see if I can get away with stuff. Because nothing actually indicated that I can go outside now. Nothing actually told me when police hour is over. Anyway, my point still stands. I genuinely think that in terms of jokes, people should be able to get away with stuff like that. Just standing there, cool. That's just my thoughts. I just had thoughts to share. You know, obviously you guys might know comedy is very near and dear to me. I think comedy has done a lot for me throughout life. I think without comedy, I wouldn't be the person I am today, because it helps taking life a little bit less seriously, and that's especially why I think people shouldn't take racist jokes at face value and like say that they're offensive and stuff like that, because you know, it's a bit short-sighted. I don't know. It's always worth thinking about these things and asking yourself if there's more to it. Huh. This joint is just hovering. And it seems to be pointing at me at all times. Weird. Let's go in here. Anyway, those are the thoughts anyway. And so, if you guys are interested as well, because I certainly am, I'll probably bring it up with Guy at some point, just as a conversation piece, because I think it's an interesting conversation to have, especially in this modern day and age where, you know, things are just becoming unacceptable for no great reason. Or maybe for good reason. I mean, I don't know. I don't really know how to judge any of that. It's it's a bit difficult. I'm not gonna lie sometimes. As in, it's a bit difficult sometimes, so I'm not gonna lie about it. That I wish it was easier. But the problem is, I could like profess my philosophies here, and someone will say that's offensive. Like the way of thinking that I'm doing here, in saying that these things shouldn't be offensive, that to someone could be considered offensive, and I detest that, and I actually find it very unfortunate in that way, because that being the case means that you know, intellectually we will never develop further than we are. Like we need jokes to further ourselves intellectually. That's the thing as well. Let's talk about free speech. I like the fact that I can talk about all these things like freely online. And you know what? Believe it or not, I like the fact that some random person on the internet can log on, comment on this video, and completely disagree with me and tell me that I'm completely wrong. That's perfectly okay. Mildly ironic, but great. And I encourage it, in fact. Like, if you disagree with me, just tell me that I'm wrong. Because I like to think of... I don't like to say this way, because it sounds very high and mighty. I like to think of myself as relatively open-minded. My map's not working. It's like... I'm not necessarily always open to, like, new experiences as such. But I'm open-minded about ideas. Because ultimately, I'm willing to accept that we don't know, we don't have the answers to the universe. We might never do. So we should stop pretending that some of us do, you know? We should stop professing that we have the solution to everything, because we don't. The reason being is because we don't listen to each other. We just tell people what to do and how to do. And this becomes the new normal. This becomes the truth. But unfortunately, for me, it doesn't work that way. And I'll be honest, I am very, like... I need to read more into his stuff, to be honest with you, before I, like, throw around names. But I'm very much of the mindset of Nietzsche in a way where, like... Basically, I think that there is no universal truth. Or it might be very difficult to get to the universal truth. But we should still strive to get there. You might ask yourself, why would you do that if there is no universal truth? Great question. I'm glad I asked. The reason for that is because... Oh wait, is my spray paint on? Oh, my spray paint is done. Okay, I need to buy more. The reason why we should always chase for a universal truth, despite that there is none, is because we have to always remember that the truth is something that we... Okay, wait, now I'm circling. We want to achieve the universal truth, right? Or well, we need to strive to the universal truth. Now the question is why? Why do we want to strive to a universal truth if there is none? The reason for that is because, just what I said, we don't know how things work exactly. You know, in terms of, like, being... I don't want to sound floaty, but being in harmony with everyone requires understanding of as many people as possible. Can't be with everyone, because not everyone's willing to speak. But with as many people as possible regardless. So, what we want to... the only way to do that is to pretend like there is a universal truth and then go for it. And then kind of find out how to get there. I'm not making much sense because it's a bit of a difficult subject to... The fuck? Okay, hang on. Oh, it's the old thing, isn't it? There. Did I buy it? Yes, I did. Okay, let's spray some paint. So, as we inch closer to a universal truth that we are aware it doesn't exist. Basically, okay, let me put it differently. To try and strive for a universal truth that doesn't exist, right? Forget that it doesn't exist. Because in this scenario, it doesn't matter that it doesn't exist. We should pretend like it does exist and strive to get there. Because you could think of it as every inch that we get closer to a universal truth is every inch that we get further away from a universal lie, which does definitely exist and is in a way the irony of life, right? Everything is a lie and nothing is true. I don't want to say like, don't trust anyone. It's not what I'm saying. Because it's not true even. Truth to be achievable, we have to be able to like open ourselves up to the truth. To not do that is to lie. I'm being floaty again. I don't like that. How do I not speak in circles? That's the real question. So let's say for theory's sake that there is a universal truth. How are you going to find out? How are you going to find out what the universal truth is? By searching for it. Okay, what is the universal truth? We don't know. Because in reality there is none. But that's you know, we don't talk about that right now. The reality is something else. The truth is there is no truth. I am circling again. How do I not circle about this subject? This is the problem of like having to talk about it to myself. Let's just deal some drugs, shall we? You want some weed? I can get you weed. Also, I swear I haven't smoked as well. Like, I don't really have access to any of that stuff. Alright, I don't even know why I'm looking for a universal truth anymore, because can't be fucked anymore. Oh, right, the universal truth was like in defense of free speech. So, okay, no, I've recalled my trial. So we need we need free speech to get to the universal truth, which doesn't exist, but we should pretend does exist, for the benefit of like getting closer to this universal truth. So sounds weird, but I think I can explain my own thought process. You see, basically, to restrict free speech is to say that you know what the universal truth is. Because by saying you can't say this, it means that you know that behaviorally what you're saying is the mandate. And that it can't be any other way. Because if it is another way, then that must mean you're wrong. But you're not wrong because you know how it works.
You there. Come here for a moment. Are you
Let's see what they do.
any drugs or weapons?
No, I don't. Anyway. That's why we need free speech, is to be able to...
you go.
Oh, okay, police hours are officially over. Okay, I can deal drugs then. That's why we need free speech, is because we have to strive to find this universal truth. Which doesn't exist, but we you know, because of it... Let me put it this way. You know that they still don't know what the definitive decimal is, like the definitive full number of pi is. They're still looking into that. But they are looking into that for the sake of, you know, getting to the bottom of that. Like, they want to understand how all of this works. They want to understand like the truth of the universe, but I don't think they'll ever get to the definitive number of pi. So why are they looking for it? Not the greatest example. I will accept. Let me put it differently yet again. Um, universal truth. Universal truth. Truth. Okay. You know what they say? It's like be good to others. And a lot of people will say to that, you know what? I don't really want to because others are not good to me. While that's true, and while it is true that like good people don't always get what they deserve, um, you should always strive for good, right? It will be a never-ending battle, and bad or evil, or whatever, will always persist. But you know, people who do the right thing do the right thing because it is the right thing to do, right? Not necessarily because they enjoy it, and not always because it's in their benefit, but it's because doing the right thing is like a moral obligation that they feel deep within their hearts. And I think that's beautiful. And I think that a lot of people can take something away from that. You know what I mean? Like a lot of people can kind of take that mindset and learn from it, I suppose. Yeah, whoops. And so I think the search for universal truth is exactly the same way. Is basically we'll never get there, but we strive to get there because we want to understand it, even though we will never do. I don't know. There's probably something that Friedrich Nietzsche says that is more convincing, and also, I remember at the time I didn't quite get it, but it's just like a thing that you at some point just kind of clock and think to yourself, you know what? Okay, so that's what it is. It's not always obvious, and the search for truth is a search for a reason, right? Like it's not it's not the the casual stroll to obtain truth from the grocery store. Because if it was, life would be so much simpler, but so much more worthless, I suppose. You know, the thrill of the hunt wouldn't be there. Not that everyone appreciates the thrill of the hunt, I certainly don't. At least not always, but it has its moments. I don't know, I feel like I've been a ramble machine all night long. So who knows? I'm just playing a game about dealing drugs and just talking to myself, essentially. Whoa, what's going on?
Okay. You're probably wondering what's up, aren't you?
Yes, I am.
You can't move. Everything is so slow and weird. Oh my god, even the pause is disabled.
Whoa.
We glitched the game, motherfucker. That's it. We're all gonna die. Alt F4, Alt F4.
I'm gonna walk home. Fuck you.
Eject! Nah, chill. It's just the end of the demo. Now, you're gonna fall slowly asleep. Your eyes are heavy. You see a world of wonder with millions of galaxies, trillions of stars, and a whole shit ton of coke. Money is flowing, and the cops can't catch ya. Can you see that? You know what it is? The full
No.
version of the game, actually. Hope to see you soon. We got an adventure ahead of us to pursue, so don't keep me waiting.
Okay, well that's the end of that game then. I'll tell you this much. It's a good game. And I'm intrigued. Do you know what? Let's see if the camera works. I can do like a sign off thing. So let's swap this over. Let's go together now. You're not seeing my screen because I'd rather you don't, even though I've Clearly made sure, like I've made it clear that I don't actually care. How much does the game actually cost? Excuse me. £15. That's a lot, actually. But the full game does look like it has a ton more features. Like it actually looks like it has lock picking and shit. It overall looks a lot better. Let me full screen this actually so we can like share this experience. There I am. So let's go to the reviews. This game helped me to improve my basic math skills. It's true, it's a math game. I left this game for almost a year to see if they'd fix it. They haven't. It's basically abandonware at this point to not buy. Okay, let's see. Game is not what was promised. It feels empty in every way possible, be that in content, gameplay, or the game world. Game also runs like total dog shiz on a rig with 3090. It's choppy, jittery, even with G-Sync VSync. Not optimized at all. Even then, the visuals are dated. There's no end game. The first hour and the 30th hour are the same. Every hour you play is just the last hour you played before it. Over and over. No combat of any kind, no skill required. TLDR, this game is not fun, good, or worth abandon. I really like the feeling to get back to the old life. Feeling, I guess. Drugs are good. Now I can live out the illicit life I've always wanted. Crackhead 2021. This game is best. I always wanted to be a drug dealer, and now I got the motivation to start selling meth and coke. Meth. Really, really great fun. I was about to finish it, but then I realized I didn't have to do the task IRL. It was 1 kilogram of Colombian white finest quality. Can I reply? No. Okay. Nice. Named all my mixes off my spice rack. Nothing like people being hooked on barbecue rub. It's true. Buy mix, I'll repeat. This game is fun as hell. You will eventually hit a point where you run out of shit to do, particularly when you start working for the mob. Still fun to try new mixes and run from the police with over 1 million in the bank. Just waiting for another update. That was 17th of April, so that's actually a couple of days ago. Ask me if I was in the meth business or the money business. Neither. I'm in the empire business. That's a thing actually. So let me check. Is this actually being? Is there like a update page for this game? It doesn't look like they really update this page at all. So I don't feel great about buying this. Also, I've come to understand now as well that like a lot of people are saying that this is the same thing over and over again. I don't really want to do that. Like I think at some point if this game, do you know what? Add to my wish list. So at least if it's on a sale, I might get it for old time's sake. But I don't think I'll get it now. Because, you know, I don't have a job, so I can't really afford it. But yeah, that means I have to continue with some other shit game. I don't really want to play Where the Water Tastes Like Wine anymore. Because it was a bit slow. Let me see what other free games are around here. And then I'll probably like watch some YouTube videos. Just for the sake of content. Because that's what people do these days. Portal Reloaded. What is this? It's a free game. It's a Portal 2 mod. This community made mod you play as a test subject 4509. Go away. 4509. Awoken from stasis by an automated AI, you are expected to complete a very special test course. So this is single player mod. Okay, interesting. I haven't played Portal on this channel, so it wouldn't help all that much. Emily is Away 3. Maybe. I didn't like the first one. It was scarring. Your Chronicle. What is this? This is a text-based idle RPG game. You'll start this game from the village. Your father says be strong and save your mother, clearing many quests and battle against monsters to be strong. Making friends may be good for your journey. Everything starts from here. Click the buttons. Okay. Okay, well this is a great start. I mean, it's a free game, so how good could it possibly be? How big is it as well? 150 megs. Lol. Lol. This game requires nothing. Wait, what does it actually look like? Nah, that's boring. Let's see. Fairly solid but beautifully simple game. Having played it quite a bit before it came to Steam, I can safely say that this is a game I'll continue to return to as time passes. Got to a point where I need to add the orc to my party for his passive, so that my gold cap can go higher, so I can get part. But it seems I can no longer summon it, or other low-level creatures. I'm soft-locked. After another update that added low CPU mode, this is running a lot better, but still not good enough. At 60 FPS, the game is taking now plus or less 5% of the CPU, but still taking 20 of the GPU. Okay, well you seem just kind of full salt, so I'm not going to take this one in consideration. Grinding is love, grinding is life. Holy Jesus, this is the best game ever. Love the concept. Enjoyed this game a lot. Beating the shit out of your father in constant 60 FPS. This is basically a constant series of ludicrously low caps for everything, where you're supposed to somehow figure out that one exact series of things to do gets you. Yeah, okay. So this doesn't really seem like the kind of thing that I would be particularly interested in. Not on my own anyway. Maybe I can get some friends on this, but like, no. Let's see, top sellers. Popular upcoming, no, specials. Interesting. Interesting. Well, I could always do something that's in my list. I have too many games as it is, so you know. Who knows? There's a lot of games out there. I could do Red Dead. I have Red Dead on my Rockstar account, so I could just do that potentially. But that's a long ass commitment. But we'll see. Reminds me actually, I'm going to be playing video games with Guy on the Dawn of Discussion channel as well. So look out for that. We're gonna probably start playing DC Universe Online anytime soon. So it should be good. Who knows? Yeah, that's a thing I wanted to mention. Do you know what? Let's have a look here, because I do know that I have Republic Commando, Star Wars Republic Commando. I do have it. So I think what I'll do, because of the release on the PS4, the next game I'll play on this channel will probably be Star Wars Republic Commando if I feel like it. Because obviously it's all down to that. So let's make a note of that. Until then, let's watch some YouTube. So none of this, because that's for me to watch later. That's my private time. Let's see if there's something funny here. Oh, Spider-Man. You guys know this one? There it goes.
Help! Please! Someone!
Really hope you can make. Oh, there we go. It's so painfully unfunny, but I laugh every time. There are our eyes as well. Watch Mojo picking the thumbnails. Ha. Nice. Oh look, it's me. It's me watching me. Wait, how does that work? Watching me. Wait, oh god no. Oh god no. Oh, this is about to get very confusing. Oh, this is about to get very confusing. This is by far the greatest stream I've ever done. This is by far the greatest stream I've ever done. Gets increasingly purple as well. Gets increasingly purple as well. It's weird. Gets increasingly purple. I don't know if I can agree with that. I don't know if I can agree with that. Also, the audio is full, so Also, the audio. Oh, it's because the audio is quite low in OBS. Oh, it's because the audio is quite low in OBS. Oh, it's because the audio is quite low in OBS. So that's why the fall off is not quite. I can make the fall off way less bad. I can make the fall off way less bad. I can make the fall off way less bad. I can make the fall off way less bad. I can make the fall off way less bad. I can make the fall off way less bad. I can make the fall off way less. This is the worst thing in the world. This is the worst thing in the world. This is the worst thing in the world. This is okay. I'm putting it back down because it's horrible. It's still going as well. Like you can see the infinity just going on forever. Like you can see the infinity just going on forever. Like you can see the infinity just going on forever. Like you can see the infinity just going on forever. Okay, I can't do this anymore. This is ridiculous. Let's watch something else. Okay, I can't do this anymore. This is ridiculous. Let's watch something else. Okay, I can't do this anymore. Let's watch something else. Let's go back to the homepage. Let's just watch something. What would I be watching in this situation? Let's go to. Oh god, what the hell is this?
Here comes the sun, toot toot toot. Here comes the sun, and I say,
where's the lamb sauce?
Oh no. That was awful. That genuinely okay. Okay, interesting. Where is the lamb? Oh god, okay. Oh, Brock's best line ever. I don't remember what it was. Please tell me. Oh, I do remember now.
Oh no, it's raining!
Hey, I know. I'll use my trusty frying pan as a drying pan.
Drying pan. Imagine drying pan. What's this? The Kerminator.
Who are you people?
Sean.
Did I watch this recently? That looks weird as fuck.
Hi, I'm Kermit. I'm a frog.
What the fuck? Oh, was it? Oh no.
Oh, good work, Anakin. Now, kill him.
That's a good voice actor. Like he's spot on.
I shouldn't.
Do it. Oh, Master Windu. I must say you're here sooner than expected.
In the name of the Galactic Senate of the Republic, you're under arrest, Chancellor.
What's gonna happen
Are you
now?
threatening me, Master Jedi?
He sounds so kind of held back.
Oh, well, actually, I am the Senate.
Not yet.
It's treason, then. Ah!
You want to just like throw the puppet?
Alright.
I am going to end this once and for all.
You can't. He must stand trial.
He has control of the Senate and the court.
You know what?
He's
It's
too
not that
dangerous.
funny. It's not that funny. Let's have a look around because none of these suggestions seem very funny. I think I'm gonna like watch maybe 1 or 2 videos more, and then leave it for what it is. All political stuff. Don't really want that right now. Top 10 Oasis riffs. Interesting. I love those channels where people just play guitar, but only play other people's song. You know, always fun. You know what? Let's watch this because we were talking about this earlier.
My friend called me. He was like, "Dave, having fun in Frisco? Hell yeah. Seen the sights? No. You want to go see Alcatraz? What kind of nigga in his right mind wants to visit a prison for recreation? I got friends in jail I don't visit. I don't deal with jails. Don't deal with jails, and I don't deal with police. My house got robbed in New York. I didn't even call the police. I wanted to, but I couldn't. My crib is too nice. It's not that it's too nice, but it's too nice for me. You know how the police are in New York.
So this is what I was talking about.
Open the doors, they'll be like, "Oh, he's still here."
So these are experiences that me, being externally white, have no experiences with. But he is painting a beautiful picture of like what it is to be a black man, but at the same time making fun of black people in a way. And I think he does it in a great way. Where like, you know, he obviously he's making fun of himself more than anything. But like he paints a picture in your head almost when he makes the joke. Like in my head I now have a picture of like a policeman like coming to his apartment, just go like, "So could you just list the items that were stolen and just give that to the notary." How this place is nice. What's the rent on this? Like how much are you actually paying? Oh, it's not a housing council. Interesting. You know, that's the kind of image that he immediately paints, and it's really funny for some reason because it's like an absurd kind of picture, but at the same time, you know, as far as I'm aware, it's probably real. But again, I have no experience with the matter. So let's continue.
Open and shut case, Johnson. Apparently, this black guy broke in and hung up pictures of his family everywhere. Never seen anything like it. Don't deal with them, man. I had to bail a friend of mine out of jail one time. You know, that was horrible. I was scared. I had to walk right into the belly of the beast. I tried to look as non-threatening as possible. Hi. I'm here to bail out my buddy. Oh, okay. Well, while you're here, you do fit a description. If you'll walk this way, we can process you. How'd always get us. It's fitting those damn descriptions. Now, I could be bitter and blame all the police, but no. I'll tell you who I blame. It's those fucking sketch artists. They keep drawing the same brother over and over again. Who is...
So let's dissect these jokes real quick as well. He's kind of making fun of the police usually targeting black people, obviously, because that's the main of the joke. But he's also playing the stereotype that, according to white people, all black people look the same. That's the joke. I can appreciate that joke because, you know, here's the thing. It's weird for me to laugh at these jokes in a way, because I should be feeling guilty about laughing for these jokes. The problem is, I've not actually done anything wrong like that. Like, I don't, you know, most of us don't feel this way. You know, none of us really have any sort of resentment that he kind of portrays here, of, I guess, white people having. So, in that regard, no harm, no foul in a way. But he is kind of going with the fact, and for me, because I understand this the inherent stereotype, the joke about it, it's funny, and there's nothing wrong with laughing at that. I think. Let's
This
continue.
generic man we all look like. I want to know what they say when it's us. You know what I mean? They'd be in that room like, did you get a look? Did you see the guy that tried to rob you? Yes. Yes, I did. He was about 6 feet tall, I'd say. 6 feet tall? Yes. He had his hat on backwards, too. Good. That's good stuff. Hat was on backwards. Yes. He was black? Okay. Big lips, big nose, dick hanging out. Say no more, sir. I'll draw him from memory. You know, let me get my stencil. I think we can trace this guy and save some time. They get on the radio and shit. Calling all cars, calling all cars. Be on the lookout for a black male between 4'7" and 6'8". Between 120 and 380 pounds. He's wearing Nikes. Get this man! Criminals are insane. I don't even know why people do crime. They want to catch you, they're going to catch you. They can. They got forensics. You ever seen forensics?
This
Those
could go
guys
somewhere
find
now.
clues nobody else thinks about looking for. I mean it. You leave a pubic hair anywhere near a crime scene, they're going to find that shit. What the?
I will admit, this is fucking juvenile. But I laughed because he said pubic hair. It's sometimes the easy ones that get you. Because obviously, like, sometimes saying a taboo thing is funny. I'm dissecting his comedy. Like, consider him my frog. Even though...
What the hell is this? Back up! We got a match. Then they look at the pubic and tell all kinds of information. Looks like there was a struggle. Time of death 307. It's amazing. I saw him get a dude one time on Court TV. It was embarrassing. It was a sexual assault case. I knew the defendant was lying. I could feel it. He defended himself too hard. He didn't. His answers had nothing to do with the questions. They're completely irrelevant. They asked him easy questions. Were you anywhere near the crime scene on the night of the incident? Motherfucker, I told you I work at Burger King. He was like, that went on for hours. Then the prosecutor got fed up. Said, I've had enough of this. Called the forensics to the stand. Forensics was like, Your Honor, we are prepared to testify that we found the defendant's semen under the stove. I said, God damn. That's worse than fingerprints. You know, they find your semen, you've been there at least a minute. But that's what I want to know. Under the stove? You find semen like that? Or do you look for it? Like, do they walk onto a crime scene like, this place is a mess? Check it for semen. Or do they just like walk in and slip? Oh my God. What the hell was that? Semen.
Oh God.
They find it on every crime scene. It's like, what are burglars doing? So we got the stuff. Let's get out of here. Wait a minute.
I could leave my calling card.
My calling card.
I haven't even watched the show, but like,
Struck again.
I haven't seen the show before. I swear. I just thought this is where maybe funny people think alike. Obviously, I'm funny. I tell you, so it's true. But like, that's the kind of thing. Is like, he pulls it off very well because, well, first of all, he's got the charisma, right? Like, let's start there. But second of all, like, the jokes that he makes go from like making a lot of sense to making no sense at all. Like the semen and stove thing. Like, you know, he went on a weird like mental tirade. How'd you even get there? But he pulls it off. And to me, that's funny. And obviously to his audience, it is too. Discusses a couple of things that I don't necessarily understand as a white person, but he paints such a vivid picture that I can understand his, like, frustrations through his comedy. Which is what I mean about Universal Truth. This one is quite long, so I don't know if I can watch, like, another one that is relatively short and preferably by someone else. Just to paint a full picture. Do you know what? Let's watch some Seinfeld. Like, there's a Seinfeld clip that works, I'm sure. Like a short one, preferably. Doesn't have to be from the show. Could be from his stand-up. Let's see. Let's see. The best Kramer skit in Seinfeld ever. Now, Kramer is a bit of a question mark for a lot of people. I personally think Kramer is a very funny character, but obviously people have a bad taste because of the incident that Michael Witches was involved in. I personally don't really care about that because I don't really know too much about it, and obviously, like, he's made amends. Like, you know, it's whatever. Seinfeld is a very particular show, and I love it for what it is because the comedy in it is the absurd grounded in realism. It's not like Dave Chappelle because it's not really racially driven for most of the time. This is very much like personal problems, but very tedious stuff that we can all relate to. Observational comedy. Let's watch.
DiMaggio in the donut shop again. Yeah.
Joe DiMaggio?
Joe DiMaggio. You know, this time I went in and I sat down across from him and I really watched him. I studied his every move.
Okay. I started watching, and I realized maybe this scene needs a bit of context. So, if I remember correctly, before the scene happens in this episode, Kramer, pictured on the left here, is convinced that he's seen baseball player John DiMaggio at a donut store. And his friends will say, well, that couldn't have been him because he would never go to a shop like this. So obviously in this skit, he is explaining how he's definitely seen him.
I saw DiMaggio in the donut shop again. Yeah.
Joe DiMaggio?
Joe DiMaggio. You know, this time I went in and I sat down across from him and I really watched him. I studied his every move. For example, he dunks.
Joe DiMaggio dunks his donut?
That's right.
See, now I know it's not him. Joe DiMaggio could not be a dunker.
Oh, he's a dunker.
Why couldn't he be a dunker?
And nothing diverts his attention. Like I'm, like I'm sitting in there.
This was
know?
cut by
And
the looks of it.
I start banging on the table, you know, to, so that he'll look up, you know, like I'm sitting there, you know, and he wouldn't move. So then I started doing these yelping noises, like, no reaction because the guy is so focused, you see. You can just black out anything that's going on around him. See, that's how he played baseball. He dunks like he...
Okay, well, this is a very incomplete scene and a very bad representation of anything. I think I think Kramer specifically has so many better scenes. Wait, is this better?
So, you want to come up for a few minutes?
I'm sorry, Jerry. I just don't think this is gonna work.
Really?
This isn't that funny.
I know.
It's funny for the context of it, but like, there's so many funnier scenes. Let's do Hannigan's Scott. Solid.
Yeah, so.
Oh, he's acting very strangely. I think he started drinking again.
Oh boy, can you smell it?
No, I can't smell it.
Well, if you can't smell it, then he hasn't been drinking.
Oh, you don't always smell from a drink.
Yes, you do.
What about one drink? Would you smell from one drink?
Yes, you would. I'll prove it.
How?
Would you do me a favor?
Okay.
Would you take a drink and let us smell you?
And smell me without the drink.
I suspect that this guy I'm seeing might be drinking, but I can't smell it. Come on.
Okay, well, what am I drinking? What do you got?
I got a bottle of scotch my uncle gave me. Hennigan's. It's been there 2 years. I've been using it as a paint thinner.
So basically, what I love about Kramer is he's got these mannerisms that completely don't make sense. Like, they're completely like the movements of a madman. It's absurd, but it's funny because it's so completely kind of out of nowhere. To me, that's funny. Moving on.
I don't smell anything.
We're too close to the bottle.
Yeah. George. Come on up.
That is damn good scotch. I could do a commercial for this stuff. Boy, that Hennigan goes down smooth. And afterwards, you don't even smell. That's right, folks. I just had 3 shots of Hennigan's and I don't smell. Imagine, you can walk around drunk all day. That's Hennigan's. No smell, no tell, scotch. Hello, everybody. Hey, George, come here. I'm gonna tell you what I think. Oh, I know you don't care what I think, but I'm gonna tell you. I think that you are terrific. That's all.
Thank you.
Hey, what's that?
It's an early Christmas present.
A Christmas present?
That's right.
For who?
For you.
Get out of here!
Say you got a big job interview and you're a little nervous? Well, throw back a couple of shots of Hennigan's and you'll be as loose as a goose and ready to roll in no time. And because it's odorless, why, it'll be our little secret. A-T-double-N-I.
Kramer. Yeah, that'll do.
So, basically, my takeaway from that is Kramer's a funny character because he's eccentric in that way, but also because Michael Richards is such a fantastic actor when it comes to that, and like doing that job of like painting a picture in my head that is absolutely absurd, of like having a commercial like that, like you're advertising a scotch because it's odorless, like this is what we're talking about now. Anyway, I think that's enough for one night. I see on the stream details that someone popped in while I was watching the Dave Chappelle stuff, but clearly they didn't stick around. So for now, I'm going to light myself a nice little cigar. With not this one, because it seems to have broken. So not this one. Maybe this one. We'll give it a chance. We'll see what happens. But until next time, thank you very much for watching if you did. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed it. I'd like to go on for a little bit longer these days because I like to just rant about things. Unfortunately, I won't be playing Drug Dealing Simulator anymore until it goes on sale. Because I can't really afford full price right now. But next time, maybe Star Wars Republic Commando. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Saturday, probably. Probably.